What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. This feels like a deck building pack where they super worked on the card art. I really like it. It's called P.U.N.K, it seems. A new band of revolutionary artists arrives, changing the psychic scene with retro styling. Okay, so with deck building packs, let's get it straight though. With the US, they've changed the ratios and even the rarities inside. We used to get secret rares and super rares, all foil. Now it's the setup that tried to emulate the success of P.U.N.K, Chaos, and now King's Court, but deck building packs are not those two. Those are world premiere sets. This is like Ancient Guardians, Genesis Impact, so I do hope Konami really studies how reprints go and mix with the set for collector rare choices first off. Second off, I have no clue if this is good or bad. Let's learn together. Starting with P.U.N.K, or Yukio P.U.N.K Shara Kasui is a level 3 Earth Psychic type tuner effect monster I probably murdered the name of when aren't Psychics tuner, I feel like. So that's an E-Telly target. Attack 1200, defense 600. You can use each effect among the first and second effects of this card's name only once per turn. You can pay 600 life points, fusion summon a P.U.N.K fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand and or field as fusion material. So you have the option to go fusion or synchro since he's a tuner depending on your materials, but you can also use the hand for the fusion, so he acts as a polymerization on top that you can E-Telly out. That's kind of cool. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can pay 600 life points. Immediately after this resolves, synchro summon a P.U.N.K synchro monster. So you also have quick synchro tricks to be able to go on the opponent, but you're locked into P.U.N.K fusion or P.U.N.K synchro either way. So in archetype, you cannot generically use these for other things. They're really trying to force you to stay in the archetype. Interesting. We have Gagaku P.U.N.K Wagon, level 3 Earth Psychic tuner effect monster, so E-Telly target again. Are they gonna peel off E-Telly for this deck? They keep saying that. Mutants, people beg for that, and now probably this archetype people will beg for it also, but Halqifibrax is still a card. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. You can pay 600 life points and add one P.U.N.K spell card from your deck to your hand. I like that. I like where it's going. When a P.U.N.K monster you control is targeted for an attack by an opponent's card effect, quick effect, you can draw a card. I don't think you're necessarily going to be leaving this on the field. It's also a tuner, so you're probably not synchroing it with another tuner, but we'll see what effects the synchros have and stuff. But that is interesting to have a lingering floodgate-like effect that allows you to draw if you're targeted, not protection either. It's floodgate's the wrong term. It's reactionary effect, I suppose. Next up, we have Joruri P.U.N.K Madam Spider, and the design for these are so freaking cool. I love that Neo aesthetic with the retro look. Level 3 Earth Psychic tuner effect monster again. That seems to be the theme. Attack 900, defense 600. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. Pay 600 life points, add a P.U.N.K trap card. So again, each card is netting extra advantage before you go synchro climbing or somewhere else. When you activate a P.U.N.K card or P.U.N.K card effect that targets a card your opponent controls, quick effect, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls half its attack. So when you activate it, you now trigger instead of retroactively being targeted, like when a P.U.N.K monster you control is targeted by opponent. No, this allows you to force what you're doing here, and that's pretty cool. I like effects like this. This is where creativity in an archetype gets interesting. So when you activate the effect that targets, you get to target. I like it. I like it. No P.U.N.K Seaman is a level 3 Earth Psychic effect tuner. Again, hope maybe you can synchro tuner and tuners in this deck. Who knows? Attack 600, defense 600. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. You can pay 600 life points and add a P.U.N.K monster from your deck to your hand, except for no P.U.N.K Seaman. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a P.U.N.K monster you control. It gains 600 attack. That's sent to the graveyard in any way, shape, or form, used for synchro link material. Also, so far, we haven't been stopped from summoning Halqifibrax. The restrictions on that first card are just for effects. Interesting. So we have no P.U.N.K Foxy Tune, a level 8 Light Beast effect monster, attack 2300, defense 2600. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. You can tribute one P.U.N.K monster, special summon this card from your hand. So you can just tribute any P.U.N.K on the field and get this out, and then get other okay effects depending. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. and send one card from your hand to the graveyard. And if you do, special summon a level 8 or lower punk monster from the deck. You send this card from a hand or field to graveyard, and you send a card from a hand to graveyard. That's interesting. So this sends its cost and can be countered, but then you send another as a resource in the grave for later or something you can do later, and then you special summon any out of deck. What a high cost is a 2-for-1, but then each one is self-replacing, and then you can continue up a line. That's a really cool extender, and it also can be from hand or field, so you don't have to tribute and then tribute it off. I almost wish this was a quick effect, since you can get this to the field so easily, and that additional, like, you could just pop off. Once per turn, when this card destroys a monster in battle, you can gain life points equal to the original attack of the monster. Doing damage is obviously better, but that's not a bad effect, I suppose. Maybe it's just more so for being a level 8. We have a level 8 water fish fusion effect monster, attack 1000, defense 2600, materials 2 punk monsters. So was everything up to, this was a beast, this was an earth psychic. So you deviate, all the smalls are psychics, we go to a beast for the big 8, and then we go to fish. Attack 1000, defense 2600, materials 2 punk monsters. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. You contribute this fusion summon card, special summon up to 2 level 8 or lower punk monsters with different names from your hand or deck in defense. Whoa! So you can fusion summon, tag back out into any 2. This is like Gladiator Beast next level. If this card is used as a material for a Synchro summon, you can target a punk monster you control. This turn it can attack twice. Double good effects. Double good. I like it. Next up, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Punk, Amazing Dragon, a level 11 Wind Sea Serpent Synchro effect. We seem to be missing the picture for now. I'll refresh and see if it is there or not. Doesn't seem to be yet. It is attack 3000, defense 2800, materials a tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters, so you got to do it different ways, but level 11 obviously is what you want to mix the 8 fusion or 8 effect monster that easily gets itself to the field with all the 3s that you have. You can use one effect among the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can target a number of cards your opponent controls up to the number of level 3 psychic tuners with different names in your field or graveyard, return them to your hand. And with you sending extra on the level 8, that gets this even stronger. So it's synchro summon, you do target, but then you also don't destroy, you return, which is great against extra deck monsters and a lot of different resources. Then you're going to be targeting a lot, it sounds like. You can target a punk monster in your graveyard, except for Yu-Gi-Oh! Punk, Amazing Dragon, special summon it. It's starting to sound like a splashable engine, where you can pick and choose the pieces. Like, you could just do the monster search into this, go into that, kind of do that stuff. But let's read the spells and see if they stand up. We have Gagaku, Punk, Wild Picking, probably murdering again, continuous spell. You can only use the first effect of this name once per turn. At the start of damage, if your Punk is battling an opponent's monster, you can destroy that monster. So you would not get a re-declare off of that, but it also would stop stuff like flip effects in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh boy. But seriously, start of damage is where you want to be doing an effect like that. If this card in the owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of the turn, punk monsters you currently control can't be destroyed by battle. Okay, secondary effect, didn't really need to have it, but I guess. We got Gagaku, Punk, Crusher, Beat. Not a Gagaga card, I'm assuming. Yeah, that would be another G, right? Continuous spell card. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If your opponent activates a card or card effect that targets a punk monster in your possession, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. So it's basically targeting protection again here, which you already have in a sense. If this card is in its owner spell and trap zone and is destroyed by opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of the turn, punk monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. Again, and maybe if you could force your opponent's card effects to destroy spell or traps or something with like a Durandal-like effect. Joe Ruri, P.U.N.K Dangerous Gabu is a normal trap card. You can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn. Target an effect monster your opponent controls. Negate the effects for the rest of the turn. Then if you control a P.U.N.K monster, gain life points. Wow, that's generic and then turns into something. But it specifically affect monsters, obviously targeting as well. Like Imperm would just be better because it takes care of the column rather than this. It's not even a counter trap card. It just negates the effects and doesn't destroy. It's okay. At least it's searchable, I suppose, in archetype. And then you have Joruri P.U.N.K Nashiwari Surprise, a normal trap card. You can activate a card with this card's name only once per turn. Target a face down card your opponent controls, or if you control a P.U.N.K monster, target a face-up card your opponent controls, and destroy it. So you have a searchable pop, which is a little bit more impressive, kind of like Magic Bullets have, and then Marinsas have something like this card too. So other archetypes, and Psychic Wielder reprint, yeehaw, Collector Wielder for BA players. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the US. So the traps being searchable is still pretty good in the archetype, and both are utilizable. I don't really have that much respect for the continuous spells and their effects. You're getting to destroy things by battle at the start of damage. It turns any of your monsters into climbing over. That's cool. I think this is going to be more used as a synchro tool engine if it's going to get broken in and go crazy, and I think it can mix with a lot of things. It doesn't seem to really lock you necessarily into it, but you can use it as an engine to go places. The question is, how does this do versus other synchros? Oh, we already saw the synchro and how awesome it looks. It's right there. It's right there if you're wondering on the art. It's what we started with. I can be slow sometimes. Thanks for watching today's video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. Let me know what you think about the P.U.N.K archetype. I think out the gate, it is looking pretty nice, but I think it would be looked at more for an engine, although the traps do add a conversation of like, do you play the one for the trap searcher? Can you do a combo into it? It's looking very solid out the gate though. I like it, and I think it'll do decent, but like, you compare it to something like Magic Bullets from a deck building set, like, where does it go versus that in terms of actually in a metagame? And how would it do versus modern Yu-Gi-Oh? I'm trying to still feel it out. It feels like it can mix in as a great synchro engine.